such a good point what you were talking about, and then it just cut off. So I'm gonna let you finish, and then I want Alfonso to let people know who he is and what he do.
I was just basically wrapping up how trusting our gut has a lot to do with nervous system dysregulation and learning what that looks like. We need to be able to identify within ourselves when we are dysregulated, when we're anxious, when we're on edge, when we feel that familiar feeling, when we can identify what's triggering us at a deeper core level. That's how we know that something's off. That's how we can kind of go with that. Also, being able to identify when that person is not meeting your needs.
Absolutely. Okay, I will give you that question too, Alfonso, but let people know first of all who you are, what you do, and then I'm going to roll you right on into this conversation too.
Okay. Man, I was excited. I was back here. I'm like, come on, what's going on? But my name is Alfonso Nathan. People call me Fonzo Therapist. I'm a licensed mental health therapist, licensed professional counselor. I'm the co-owner of a counseling practice, Brightside Counseling and Brightside Medical Associates. We have about 35 therapists, two doctors, and 4 nurse practitioners service in Pennsylvania and Virginia.
Awesome.
I'm big with Black mental health. I'm big with just all mental health in general. So anyway, there we go.
For sure. And I think that's why I definitely wanted to invite you to this, right? Because obviously we're BFT, but we also have our BMT aspect. And I'm like, it's always good to hear both sides, of the perspective. It's not just,
Right.
Us. And we were like, yeah, girl, we get you. Like, but let's also hear the other side as well. So the question that I had just asked her is that we often trust your gut. But what happens when your gut has been conditioned by pain? And how do you know when you're being discerning versus self-protective to a fault? And I don't know if you can maybe even speak up from the male perspective on that, or maybe just in total, but just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. When I hear that, I hear, trust your muscle memory. And the only way to really determine if you are on a healthy or unhealthy route for your muscle memory is through self-assessment, because this society, this world has really put us in autopilot. And autopilot is probably one of the worst things that can happen if you're not aware if you're going in the right direction or not. So, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is Einstein's definition of insanity, right? So, if you're trusting your gut and it keeps on bringing you to that bad situation, maybe you need to take a step back and take a moment and reflect. So that's how you can figure, if you're going the right way or not is if this feels familiar, and if this feels familiar and it's always leading me to the wrong path, wrong person, wrong situation. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that we're much better at naming what we don't want in a relationship than what we actually do want in a relationship? And if so, why?
Well, the bad stuff is louder. The bad stuff is, bigger, and it's because if it's dangerous, we're going to remember it more. If it's safe, we chalk it up to normality, and because it's supposed to happen. So we will remember these red flags and these things that aren't good for us, because our body is like, hey, I need to make sure I keep tabs on that. So something is telling me to make sure I'm remembering so it doesn't happen again. And if you're not aware of that, you're going to just stick with that familiar, because for some people, that those red flags, those tough situations, that's what they grew up in. And, if that's a familiar thing, that's what they feel is what love is supposed to be, what togetherness is supposed to be, then you're going to gravitate towards that.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of the saying that you learn a lot more from failure than success, right? Because success, kind of like the same thing. If it feels good, success, you don't learn anything from it, but you learn a lot when you fail. You learn a lot from pain. Okay, what does this feel like? Okay, I know that I don't want to feel that again. So I'm now going to be hyper vigilant on, oh, wait. What happened? Okay, no. We're not doing that no more. So you're even more on alert when you go through
That's
that.
real. But I think it's important to know that we have to make sure we're focusing on the goods. Like my brother Elliot Kani, he's really big with what we call solution focus. So not only focus on the bad things, but we look at the good things. Like why is the good situations happening? How can we duplicate that? How can we dissect that? So so we can have that more. We're in a society that thrives off of negativity. Rage bait
Absolutely.
is one of the biggest, easiest low hanging fruit. But I mean,
Absolutely.
it's good for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate cake is a sensational thing. Like, yeah, I like that chocolate cake, but if you eat chocolate cake every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's not good for you. We need bland. We need some baked chicken. We need some, we need the consistency. That's good for you, but it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's not as exciting.
Yes, absolutely. And to add to that, I think we also find it easier to spot those flaws and those red flags because we don't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much easier for us to identify what's wrong with this person and what's wrong with that person, and just chalk it up to, well, they don't fit, me, instead of really looking at self and what self maybe needs to change and adjust within ourselves. So.
Yeah. Listen, if a person saves a cat from a tree, they'll talk about it for 10 seconds. But if someone kills a cat and throws off a tree, they're gonna make a Netflix documentary on it. Right?
You'll know about that for life. You're right.
Yeah, man. So
Mhm.
so so that those negativity is such a sensational thing, and we're so used to it now. So that's why we look at it more. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I think I want to add to that, but let's get to this next question though. What's a green flag that doesn't get talked about enough? Something people might actually overlook or mistake for something bad or negative.
For me, I would say boundaries. I think that we sometimes believe that if someone says they didn't like something we did or something we said, or they tell us, hey, they open up and they share something with us that they would rather that we not do in terms of how we interact with them and how we treat them, we see that as, oh no, this person is either trying to change me or this person is, oh no, this is not my person would be okay with this thing that I do, even if that thing is really toxic. So I think that boundaries are things that we don't look at as a strength. We see that as criticism, instead of really understanding that a relationship is mutual. It's mutual effort. I meet you halfway, you meet me halfway. I don't have to accept every single thing or like every single thing about you. Like, that's impossible. But that doesn't mean that you're the wrong person for me because you don't like every single thing about me. So.
big facts. You're right. Um, Another one is consistency. Consistency is
Mm.
something that we overlook so much because our brain forces us to do that. There's this thing called habituation. When there's a constant stimuli that's always happening, our brain gets used to it and we don't pay attention to it. Like, earlier today, you put on your socks and your shoes, you felt your socks and your shoes. But when you're walking throughout the day, you're not feeling your socks and your shoes until we're talking about your socks and your shoes now. You're feeling it, right? So consistency in a relationship, gets overlooked because we just assume that the person is always going to be there. We just assume that the person is always going to say yes. And what happens for the person in a relationship that is constantly the one that's always being consistent and saying yes, they feel as a big toll on them that they have to continue that. And they start losing a part of their identity, start losing their voice.
Mhm. Mhm.
And for those individuals that are like that, I always let them know, like, hey, listen, it's not being selfish that, you say no from time to time. It's self-care. And self-care looks selfish to those who only value you when you're selfless. All right.
I have a question about that, or for both of you. When you feel like you're losing your identity, do you see that more in your male clients or in your female clients, or vice versa? We're talking about losing identity once you get into a relationship.
You can't lose something you don't have. So
Mm.
therefore, if you have your identity prior to entering into that relationship, no one can cause you to lose it. Yes, you can become infatuated with someone. Yes, you can let the fantasy, like Calgon, take you away. But the reality is, if I am grounded in who I am, then no person is going to change that, whether they're with me or they're not.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, that's good. Yeah. As a male, and I talk with a lot of men, like especially black men. I mean, men feel that way. They feel that when they are in a relationship, they start to lose their identity. And especially when kids start getting involved, you
Mm.
start to just only think of being mom and dad and forget about being husband and wife and forget about being yourself. And we see a lot of men when they're older, they don't even know who they are because, they haven't really poured into themselves. They haven't really watered the flowers that created their persona. And a lot of men just walk around because they're providers. They're like, all right, my identity is just a provider. And what happens is if they lose their job, if some situation happens and they lose that identity, they don't know who they are. And again, we were seeing a higher amount of suicide rates that's happening with these men, especially black men of success. We're seeing that. So, I would have to say from just, talking with my guys, that's what they feel.
Yeah. That's a really big one. I want us
That's
to.
big. That's very big.
That it really is big, and that's what made me bring it up. Is because when you spoke on that identity piece, I know I hear that a lot too, of like losing
Yeah.
my identity, and then how that starts shapes how you interact with relationships and how you move forward with them, and the difficulty it is for you to become accountable and vice versa. Just a multitude of layers of things that you have to address when it comes to that. But I have another question for y'all. I think this is a really good one. We grew up watching our parents or matriarchs in our family, right? Stay in relationships longer than they probably should have. And maybe they should have left. Maybe, right? When then we were told our generation doesn't know how to commit. How do we find the balance between not settling, but also not running every time it gets hard? Because now social media, we can portray. You have people that not have other accounts that's like mental health accounts, right? And those accounts are quick to tell you you need to bounce.
Mm.
Quick. Okay, like if this is not happening, let that go. Now, some things can and some things can't. But I want to hear your perspective based on kind of a lot in our culture, what we have witnessed and how that have shaped who we are.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? Again, remind you, how do we find balance between not settling and not running every time it gets hard?
It's real. It's very real.
I would say similar to identity, we need to be grounded, right? Because if I know who I am, if I know what I am looking for, if I know what I need for myself, that's been established before this person even comes along, then I'm not settling. I'm not going to settle for less than I actually deserve because I know what I deserve. So if I'm settling, that means that I'm not really connected in to myself and knowing what I need. And if I'm running, then similar. I'm not ready. I don't know what I actually need, or I'm professing that to need or want something that I don't have the capacity to handle. So then I run away from it because I don't have what it takes to sustain that thing. So the balance between not settling and not running is being just knowing self and embracing self, loving self. And I mean, once you love yourself, you're not going to be willing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. And you're not going to run away from a good thing either, because you'll recognize it as a good thing.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
true. That's very true. I would say that, I mean, times are different. There's so much more opportunities out here now than it was in the past. Grandma didn't want to be with Grandpa. She wanted to be with Mr. Earl and all these other people. You know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
it was just different. She ain't had Tinder. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
a lot of
right.
our grandmamas would have been out and about. You know what I'm saying? But but it's different. So understanding there's more opportunities, more options, and again, people are expecting more. In the
Mhm.
past, the expectation was, okay, if you can be able to provide for me and be able to like have a job and have a house, cool. But now it's like, hey, like, are you going to therapy? You know what I'm saying? Are you, what's your 5, 10 year plan? So there's a lot more things that people are requesting in order to make sure that it's a good situation. You can still find love in out here, but it's just quality over quantity. Yeah, you have to look at right now because whenever I talk to my single individuals, they're like, man, it's hard for me to trust. And I mean, that's the reality. There's some tough situations with trusting, but it's about seeing, okay, what are you looking for? What do you want? Are you looking for a peace of mind? A peace of mind may not be with a certain tax bracket. A peace of mind may have to be with a certain different profession. So it's going to be a lot about unlearning from what we deemed as fine, of that right type of significant other, spouse, or anything like that. And just know, yeah, there's a lot of different options out there, but doesn't mean that you can't find your option. You got I continue looking. Like, what's the alternative? You know what I'm saying? You got to continue looking. There's people who want to have a meaningful relationship, especially now. We're in a time of automation and artificial intelligence, so
Yeah.
we need that human compassion. We need
Mhm.
those hugs. We need that stuff more than ever. So I'm seeing. I think we're going to see a lot more people finding that type of just one-on-one type of love. I'm still believing that, but also there's some individuals who are about the polyamorous situation, and it
Yeah.
is what that's on them. You know what I mean? So just understanding there are different definitions, different ways of finding that type of love. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about like one thing when you was just talking there and you was talking about AI and especially with what's going on social media now, and this question is for both of you. A lot of time on social media, right, you relationship goals, right? And you have people posting their highlight reels like, oh, he built me a bookshelf or he kissed me on my forehead. I don't know, these things. And then we're fantasizing like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. How do you shift from actually context versus content, right? Like you're not just going after that content post, but actually when those red and green flags show up, you are doing your due diligence or not just saying, well, this is not what it looks like on social media. Because we are being
Yeah,
persuaded by that, right? You're seeing that on your
absolutely.
timeline. You're
Yeah.
seeing
We
relationship goals all the time. And you're like, oh, okay, it should be like this. And then if it doesn't, it's not like that. Should I bounce?
it's because it's great clickable content.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So in reality, a lot of healthy relationships aren't even showing you what's really keeping them together, because I think we're getting back to gatekeeping. You know what I mean? Because I think for a good past 5 years, we've been just telling everything out here, and it's been weaponized. So a lot of relationships are, not going to tell you the secret sauce, because not everything needs to be out here. But just know that social media is what it is. It's smokes and mirrors, and we have to understand that. Are we really liking the person, or are we liking the concept of the person? And the
Mm.
majority of times we're liking the concept of people more than the actual individual. So, so it's about spending time offline, see if we really friends in real life. You know what I mean? See how we're good, off the digital situation, you know?
I love that.
So for me, I mean, if I gotta go on social media to help me to determine what a good, healthy relationship looks like, then that's a problem, right? Because I should know what that looks like, not just looks like on TV or in social media. I should have examples of that. I think that people that go online and fantasize about what they're seeing have a very immature view of life and relationships, because I mean, first of all, one of the reasons he probably did that was because he knew that you would post it for content, and so that helps him look good as well. And I feel like unless there's a couple that is online, really helping other people to be healthy. Most healthy, happy people that are busy living their lives are not posting a bunch of stuff on social media. Because yes, I want people to know that I have a healthy relationship, but there's a way to do that. There's a way to show that, and not just for clicks and for views and for popularity.
Ladies, if he's doing a whole paragraph and he's doing all this stuff on there, this nigga cheating. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just livening it up a little bit. Which is just
but
black
that
men
is the
don't cheat. Black men don't cheat. Remember that.
Oh
All right.
God, don't start that one.
Black
That's a
men don't
whole
cheat.
other topic for another evening.
I was gonna
Um,
say, but that is the content that's clickable, right? You have these people come on that have no credentials or anything, and they're just like, if he do this and he do that, and the women like, yeah, okay. You see, a man said that. Yeah, listen, don't listen to them.
yeah,
Absolutely.
sensational,
But
right?
it
It's the
is, yeah,
sensationalism is what people remember, and that is one of the most unhealthy things. It's good in doses, but when it's continued, that's why we're seeing all this in society right now, because that's all we're consuming.
yeah, for sure. What do you think that is that the reason because of social media? Since social media has started and all the things that's with social media, do you think that adds to the issues in relationships?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because one, we're looking at just the smokes and mirrors of what a relationship should be. If he don't make 300K, he's not for me. He should be doing this, boom, boom, boom. And on the other side, like the red pill individuals, like, oh, she should be cooking, cleaning, and just being quiet. Like it's be like we got to understand, like, when we're putting food in our system, that's nourishment. And we're also putting words in our system, that's
Mm-hmm.
also nourishment as well. So we
Yeah.
gotta be mindful of the content that we're taking in. So yeah, social media puts a big effect on just what relationships should look like right now. I mean, that's what's shaping our society, and it's smokes and mirrors, it's fool's gold.
Yeah.
So I think that just like, that saying, money is the root of all evil, when the reality is that it's what you do with it, right? So the evil was there before the money arrived. I think that social media just highlighted what was already the cancer of society when it came to relationships. I think it just
Mm.
made it more obvious because it revealed what was there. It's now we see some things, we can share ideas, we can broadcast our toxic thoughts, we can influence people. But I mean, you first have to have that before you use the vector, of spreading that. So I don't think social media is to blame. I think it's how we use it. I think our society, and how we are trained, and how we are taught to be in relationships, and not taught, for some demographics. I think that is more of the issue.
Yeah, but our society is social media now.
It
You know what
is.
I'm
It
saying?
is.
So that's again, if they invent DMs, I'm telling you, there'll be a lot more stable relationships, right?
I mean,
I don't know.
maybe. I do agree that it has definitely opened up a whole world that wasn't before. Like you said,
Yes,
Yo,
our grandma couldn't go and be with Mr.
yes,
Earl,
yeah.
or all the other people, Mr. Frank
yes.
and everybody else, because it was right here. But now
Uh
you
huh.
have the world at your hands. And I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely. But if I mean, Uncle Earl may now cheat with Sophia from in Brazil, but he would have still cheated with Maria from around the corner, even without
facts,
social media.
facts.
So, it doesn't really, it just enhanced what was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Now, grandma, like now, Mr. Earl on IG Live. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
like,
hope
yo,
not.
yo, Ethel, what's up with it? You know.
Oh God.
Oh, I hope not. Baby, they taking over Facebook, okay?
Yo, I'm telling you, but they getting fooled by these bots. I can't tell you about how many like these
Getting
older
fooled
people.
by the bots.
Yo,
Well, that's a red flag right there, ladies. If he's always on social media, I don't want no man with no social media. I don't want you with an Instagram, a Facebook, a TikTok. I don't want you snapping. No.
no, because they be the sneakiest ones. They be the one that there's like, no, I don't have no socials. Like, why don't you got no socials? What you hiding? What
Now
extra family you hiding?
look,
They
that is great.
hide it.
Red flag, green flag. He ain't
Yeah.
got a social, girl. What is that? Is that a
You
red
need a
flag?
Right.
balance.
He's working and he's doing what he needs to do. He's not on Instagram. He's not TikToking it. And,
Nope. I'm telling you, I'm telling some secrets. Listen,
Mhm.
he gotta have some type of presence, because if you don't have no presence, that brings too much autonomy. That brings just too much just anonymity. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Yeah, you don't want him to have like 10 million followers, but you
Right.
don't want he gotta have something. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You don't need to be on
Have
there all the
friends.
time.
He can have friends and actually go out and interact with those
Yeah,
friends and
I
have
love it.
relationship and be
yeah,
supportive. He don't need to have any followers on social media. I mean, I'm not saying he can't, but what I'm saying is if he's checking in the messages and stuff every day, I
yeah.
don't want him. I don't want him. No, thank
Of
you.
course,
There's
of
so
course.
much more to do in the world than I don't want you doing that.
That's right. I
Yeah.
know
I
that's
love it. I love it. All right, let's move to this new section. It's called "Is it me or am I tripping?" So I'm
Okay.
gonna give y'all some scenarios that the audience sent in to us, and then I want you to let us know: is
Mm.
it me? Is it them? Or are they tripping? All
Okay.
right, you ready?
Uh-huh.
All right. So one we got to write in, she says, he tells me everything, like everything. His exes, his trauma, his fears, and we've been dating for 6 weeks. It
Ah,
feels intimate, but also overwhelming. Is this openness or a warning sign? So is it her or is she tripping?
that is a warning sign, red flag, no go, file on the goddamn plane. No, okay? 6 weeks, he doesn't know you. There has been no trust established. Why is he telling you all this in 6 weeks? Absolutely not. No, if you're giving me that much about yourself when I have not earned that trust. I have not earned your safety. No, no,
yeah.
So she not tripping.
no, not tripping. No.
So
Uh,
I'm probably gonna get like a lot of messages from these guys like, yo, bro, why you on here just telling these secrets? No, it is not her. She's not tripping. That's a super red flag. That's a trauma dump. That's love bombing. That's all those things creating
yeah.
all these emotions, and you thinking like, oh man, I got butterflies. Nah, baby, you got stress and anxiety.
Hmm.
It's not butterflies, baby. Like
Yeah.
you dealing with secondhand trauma now. You telling all these things in 6 weeks. That shows that he does not have boundaries. You know what I mean? And so why are you telling me all these things all at once? You know what I mean? But again, it all depends. It all depends. Like again, if I see this in older couples. So individuals who are at a certain age where it's like, in their 50s and 60s, like they don't got time. Like,
They
listen,
don't
this
have
is what's
time.
going
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
A, B, C, and D. We
Uh-huh.
cool. We cool. But
Yeah.
if you're in 20s, 30s, 40s, and he's
Right.
just telling you everything in the first week, nah,
Yeah.
nah, he plotting,
Yeah.
and she's plotting. So no, it's not only just the men; it's also the women
Absolutely.
as well, because
Absolutely.
True.
there'll be a lot of love bombing and a lot of
Yes.
trauma dumping with the
Yes.
woman, and then you're like, yo, bro, like I don't know something about her. Nah, man, like, something about her is that she plotting on you. It's about to go down. You know what
Right.
I mean?
I'm with you on that. Okay, here's another one. This is from a guy. So she doesn't really need me. Like she has her own money, her own friends, and her own life.
Mm.
I feel grateful, but also kind of unnecessary. Is that her being healthy or us just lacking connection? What should I do? He tripping or yeah?
Mm. Mm-mm. No, no, that's her being healthy. Why should she need him? Why does he want to be needed in that way? I mean, there's so many ways that you can need a partner, but if it's that, she has her own social network and she has her own money. If that was so, is that all he can provide then?
Mm. Yep. Well, a lot of times, again, a lot of times men's identity is being able to try to
Think
provide.
about
So I would say it all depends on the time frame. You know what I mean? Because a lot of women who do have their own, who are working, they don't want to be working and all that stuff all the time. They don't want to have to be the one that's making making decisions, making the rules all the time. They're gonna want a confident person that's gonna be with them. That's, it doesn't matter like what type of money in the situation. If you're confident in what you can provide, whether if it's some extra money, whether it's some extra situations, like if you're confident, the woman will want to be able to show continue feminine energy. They're gonna still want to continue to be like, you know what I mean? Like I want to cater to my man. I want to be able to do so. But you have to make sure you prove that. You have to make sure that you can be able to handle that situation. You can be able to handle just like her whatever it's opinions, whether if it's any of these situations, and doing it in a healthier way. You want to continue uplifting each other, and that won't be an issue if you're continue confident with yourself. So it's not. I don't think it's any of these things. I just think they just need some more time. You just need to continue to work from within yourself and continue to just see what else you can bring.
So he's tripping.
Oh, you
I
tripping.
guess, yeah, I guess you tripping. You tripping, my bad.
You tripping. Okay.
My
So
meds
she,
go off. I got ADHD, so my meds is wearing off
Same
right now.
here.
So listen,
it's
boom,
okay.
boom, boom. That's what y'all
It's
get.
okay. Okay, so she told me on the third date that she's in therapy and working on her attachment issues. I got scared and pulled back. Is that me or am I just tripping? Was that wrong?
No, I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
I,
answer.
I wouldn't say it just it depends on where his level of healing is, because attachment issue, that's a spectrum. Attachment issue could be like, oh, I just miss you when you're not here, or like, yo, who's this calling your phone? No, that's my mama. So just seeing what level of attachment issue she's dealing with. But if he's not ready for that, you know what I mean? He needs to be able to kind of make sure that he's good with himself in order to see if he's wasting her time or vice versa.
Right. Yeah, so I think that him pulling back is more of a red flag, because
For
we
her.
have
A
things
red
that,
flag for her.
yes,
Mhm.
his red flag. So
Right.
I think that she was open and honest. I think it shows self-awareness, that she understands what her issues are, that she's working on it, and that she's able to tell him out the gate, so he knows exactly what she may struggle with and what she may need more or less of. And I think that's great. I think him pulling back just says that he doesn't have the capacity to meet her where she's at, and maybe he just wants something perfect. If he's perfect, then hey, he could go find it.
So he tripping. Uh-oh.
In addition to this, it all depends also how long she's been in therapy, because sometimes people weaponize being in therapy to continue to do
Yeah.
toxic behaviors. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm working on myself. I'm working on it, and they still continue their situation. So it is
Right.
about the length of time, because attachment styles is a big thing. If somebody who's avoidant, it can really mess with your self esteem. Like you're chilling, talking with them, and then they ghost you because they have like an attachment situation. Then they come back a week later, and so we have to see where her level of healing is as well, and as well as his.
Right.
So
But
it's
he
all
won't
about
be able
timing.
to assess that based on asking her that question. She could say 5 years and that won't mean anything. What he needs to assess is her behavior. I mean,
Mhm.
if she is showing unhealthy, if she's consistently showing him that she has these issues, and she's not really, things aren't really progressing, things aren't really going in a healthy direction, then yeah, goodbye. But if she says she's been working on it for 3 months, then okay. If she's working on it, then she's working on it. If she says 5 years, then I think what matters is the behavior that she ultimately exhibits in that dynamic consistently.
Love it. All right, let's see. I had a ton of these actually, and thank you, audience, for sending these in. These are really, really good.
Yes.
So, okay, is it them or are they tripping? He said I don't really have close friends on our second date, and I laughed it off. Should I be concerned, or is that just a grown man thing? So, is it me or am I tripping?
So he said that she doesn't have close
No,
friends.
he said he doesn't have close friends. He told her that on the second date. So
Oh,
she said, should she be concerned, or is that just him
You know,
being a grown man? Is it her? She
you
tripping.
need I need more context because he may not have many friends because whether if it's level of success, when the higher you are, the less you're gonna be around certain individuals, and then as it friends or business partners, or he might be on the spectrum, so he might have a hard time keeping friends. You know what I'm saying? That's still not a bad thing, but you gotta know your partner, you gotta know your individual, or he could have antisocial personality disorder. So
I mean,
so
he
so
could, yeah,
so
for sure.
it all depends. You know what I mean? Um, I would say she's tripping. I don't know. I would say I need more context for that.
yeah, I would say she needs more time to make that assessment. First of all, what does close look like, right? To
Right.
so that would be my question. So if he doesn't have close friends, then what kind of friends does he have? And how does he view those friendships? How do they nurture him? And I think over time, if she sees that he, doesn't have capacity, or that he's always the victim in the demise of these relationships and friendships, then that's different. But it's the second date. I don't think that
Yeah.
that she can go ahead and really make a solid decision at that point. I think she just wants to run.
Yeah, that's real.
Again,
Yeah.
looking for these signs already.
There we go. Because maybe he don't want to tell you all his friends. Because maybe he got some really dope friends, and he wants to know who you are first before he kind of shows his all his cards. You know what I mean? So you always gotta realize, a lot of times people follow the 48 laws, and always say less than necessary, especially in the beginning, because not information is power. So not everybody is going to give you all the information about themselves all at once, because you
Right.
gotta make sure that they're trustworthy.
Absolutely. All right, we'll do this last one, but we should do these some more because I have a bunch of these. These are really good. Anyway, so she introduced me to her family after 2 months. I panicked and told my homie it was too fast. But honestly, she's consistent and communicate, and she is really nice. Is it me or am I tripping?
First of all, what did he say to her before she introduced him to the family?
No,
Like,
that's a good question. I don't
why
know
did
that.
he could have turned it down? Like, just because she want to introduce you to her family doesn't mean that you have to be introduced. If you feel like it's not, I mean, she's nice. I mean, if that's all she is, then you could say, okay, well, let's take some more time to get to know each other before we take that step. But he did not do that. He went and he saw the family.
That's
So,
true. Because he could have
yeah,
easily said, I don't feel
right.
comfortable with doing this. Said, right. You didn't have to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what else is he telling her that she's maybe getting this drift that he wants to meet the family, or that he's ready? Because he could be asking for things that he hasn't earned, but then don't want to show up in that other aspect.
Yes.
So,
That part.
Yep.
I think he might have been hurt before. And I think it might be a commitment situation. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because it's like, oh, it's moving a little too fast. He may not be over his previous individual. Like, because whenever like you meet in a family, it's like, oh snap, this is real. I'm not
mm-hmm.
sure if I'm ready for this step. And a lot of times for men, if they're not sure they're ready for this step, is because they in the past they were hurt. So they're not sure if they're ready for that.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Mhm.
guess that's him.
Yeah.
Well, we were all hurt. Don't be out there dating if you're not ready. If you're still hooked
But
on ex or
listen.
girl or whatever, then if you're not ready, don't be dating. Don't try to get with nobody. Don't try to get in no relationship.
That's the difference between men being hurt and women being hurt. And I don't want to make this divisive,
Yeah.
but women usually have more support, and men, until
Mm-hmm.
recently,
Yeah.
usually have to deal and suffer in silence and deal with it
They
by
can get
themselves. So
support though. Support. They have access to support if they seek it out.
absolutely, Until, as I said, until recently, but historically, women usually have more supports with their girlfriends, and they can be able to express themselves. Men, until recently, are able, had to deal with this by themselves. So they created some maladaptive behaviors in order to go over this type of hurt. But there's therapy now, and if you're a man and you have been hurt in the past, there are therapists that can be able to help you process through it. So if this resonates with you, listen, talk with one of us. We out here. All right.
I do have a question on this, and then we're going to do our rapid fire question. We're going to move on from this section. But one thing that just came up, and I think you just said it, was if you're hurt or you're still in your healing, then you need to focus on that. Can you not date while you're still in your healing? Let's talk.
So we're always in a healing. We're always a work in progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say that you can't date if you are working on certain things. If you are aware and you are able to take accountability when those things rear their ugly head, then absolutely. But if you are, oh, I'm still thinking about my ex all the time, or if you have not had any support, if you have not really taken a look at what went wrong in that relationship and how you contributed to that, if you're not sure what you need emotionally, if you're not sure what you need in a relationship, then no, you should not be dating. I think the foundation needs to be there.
Mm-hmm. That's real. I mean, I used to play football, so I do a lot of sports references. You have to look at it as, the difference between cutting your arm and, tearing your ACL. If you tore your ACL, it's going to take some time to be able to heal. You might need some surgery. You might need some time to be able to get back on the field and run again. If you cut your arm, yeah, you're hurt, but you're still good, right? So it's about the level of hurt, and the only person that can really assess how your level is you. So again, that's a spectrum. So if you're recently hurt, you just broke your femur, just tore your ACL, you don't need to be dating. You got to be able to focus on yourself, because if not, you're going to spill that hurt over into another relationship, and it's not fair to you. It's not fair to the other person. So allow yourself to sit with yourself. So allow yourself to date yourself. Allow yourself to be able to be okay with uplifting who you are, and then you can be able to come out and show the best version of you to somebody else, because now you'll weed away some of the toxic situations, because now you're not hurt. Like you have different glasses, you have different types of perspectives, and you can pick up on the red flags, because it's great to be hungry, but when you're starving, everything looks appealing to you, even things that's not good for you. So when you broke up, you're starving. Like, I just need to find love, but if you're healing, you're like, all right, I can eat a little bit, and then you'll find the right type of situation, and you'll save time and energy.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, we got some rapid fire questions real quick. Maybe like one or two sentences. So this is for both of you guys. What's one thing people call a red flag that's actually just communication?
Self-expression, boundaries, once again.
You said red flag, but it's really green flag. No.
I said, what's one thing people call a red flag that's actually just communication?
Saying no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people, if you say no, sometimes people aren't used to that word, and that's a boundary right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Like, also when people being honesty, right? They're like, oh, yeah, that's a red flag. Like, no, I think that is communicating and letting you know I'm not ready for this relationship, or, this is what I got going on. I actually am dating other people. That's good, because you could not know that. So I think honesty is a really one very good. What's a green flag that people sleep on?
Green flag. People sleep.
Drinking a lot of water. Drinking water. You know what I'm saying? Being good with your health. Protecting your energy. That's a good one. Because
I think a lot of people sleep on being a green flag that people sleep on is being able to be with you in silence.
Mm.
And just who you are. You know, it doesn't always have to be a roller coaster ride, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just peace. You
Yes.
don't have 1,000 things going on and it doesn't look so fun like on social media that we're doing all these things. You can
Yeah.
actually be together in silence and still want to be with you. I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people sleep on that.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people also sleep on kindness because they're not used to it. They're not used to people being genuine. They're not used to people being honest,
Yeah.
complimenting them, things like that. And so they look at those things with a lens of paranoia, and and not necessarily that the person, not trusting that that person may actually be honest in what they're saying to you.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Another thing, look, this is another one for me too. Also, just being able to, let's say if you get like, I don't know, I'm just throwing something out, like taking out the trash, right? I'm just throwing it out, right? If you just expect it to happen, like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. But no, actually, that's a green flag because if that's something that you've already communicated, like, hey, that's really important to me, that's one less thing I have to do, and they realize that and they acknowledge it and do that thing for you, it's not something that I was just supposed to do. But actually, I took notice that that's something that's really important to you, and I get that done. That's something that you can like just bypass. Like I came in and the trash was out, whatever. Actually, that's
Right.
really really
Right.
good. Yeah, the
Thoughtfulness.
very
Yeah.
thoughtfulness, and you overlook that as it's
Yeah.
just something you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those little things are are so important to keep and maintain a relationship. We
Right.
people what happens is people want to try to get to a relationship, but then they forget they have to keep it. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to realize as time goes on, like the relationship changes, and you have to see
Mm-hmm.
what you're feeding that relationship. It's like you have to treat it like a human, like a living thing. If you don't feed that relationship anything, it's gonna die. If you feed it something
1,000%.
unhealthy, it's gonna be sick and it's gonna die. But it's about like, all right, what's that thing you're gonna feed? But as time goes on, that healthy thing also changes. Just like a baby, the healthy thing when it's a baby, it's breast milk. When it's 4 years old, it's strawberries. When it's 18, it's a steak. When it's 33, it's a vegan. Yeah. So like as time goes on, that healthiness changes, and that's the same thing with a relationship. So it's really about being locked in, and those small little things will allow you to be able to feed that relationship in the best manner.
I can confirm a 4-year-old and strawberries.
That
Listen,
part.
okay. Oh my God, it's a whole
Got
nother
blueberries
level.
for my little one.
The
Blueberries and tell.
berries, the blueberries and the strawberries. I'm like, listen, this I need to just plant some in my yard because this is out of control.
There we go.
All right, what are your closing reflections? So, what do you want people to leave here tonight with, believing that they didn't walk in with?
I would say love yourself. Okay, I know it's so cliche.
Yep.
Oh, you can't love anybody unless you love yourself. We are definitely, we choose people based on who we are on the inside, right? Just like the law of attraction, we attract and keep what we are, right? And so if you are secure, if you know who you are, if you know what you're looking for, then you're going to be fine, right? You're going to choose what is best for you. So, you don't have to be so caught up in all the trends and the checklists and all the things. It's on the inside. Okay. It's an inside job.
That part. That part. I would say protect your energy. We all have a certain amount of energy in our body, some more than others, but it's our job to put energy to things that are good investments. So, good conversations, good relationships, right? You get a good return back by, giving that, and not putting your energy into, bad investments like unnecessary conversations and emotional vampires. That's people that's been negative for so long. So understand, how valuable your energy is. And the more you are aware of that, the more you will be able to put that in the right thing, the right place, the right situation. So, listen, and we all in this together. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy out here. Just know that you have to put power to what you can control. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And we out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
I want people to leave here tonight. One thing that we kind of talked about but didn't get to touch on a whole lot is that red flags and green flags look different for everyone.
Yeah.
So something that your best friend said, hey, that doesn't work for me, that might work for you. And
Yes.
you can't shape your person to be what all your friends say that person should be, because my relationship is going to look different from your relationship. So somebody might get mad about somebody didn't take the trash out. That might not be a big deal for me, because you cooked dinner for me tonight. So it's completely different, but red flags all look different. Green flags look different. Your relationship does not have to look like someone else's, especially on social media. That is completely different. Okay.
That
Yes,
part.
absolutely.
Again, let people know who you are, both of you. Alfonso, you can go since we had go first, since you were kind of late. Just let people know who you are, again, how they can find you. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been such a good
Absolutely.
conversation.
It was a great conversation. One, thank you for having me. You guys can find me on any of my socials at Fonzo Therapist with a PHONZ. If you need any help with anything for mental health, for outpatient, medication management or partial hospitalization programs, Bright Side Counseling. Yeah, I mean, just find, Google Fonzo Nathan. We'll be good.
Just
All right,
Google me.
just Google.
Okay, Ashley Griffith at evolvecounselingservices.com. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and just send me an email, message me, whatever. Get in contact with me.
Yes, follow me on Black Planet and Mi Gente. All right, I'm bringing it back. We're bringing back.
Okay. Look, you said Black Planet. I said
Black Planet.
We're bringing back the old socials. Bring back MySpace. Bring back Vine.
Space.
You know?
yeah, you taking it back.
Yeah, we need to reconvene so we could talk about this men not having support until recently.
Listen,
And black men don't cheat.
Oh
that's
yeah,
real though.
that's
That's
gonna be a
real.
whole topic right there.
That's
Okay,
real.
we gonna come back to this one.
Listen. I shout out to all my black men. I got y'all. You know what I mean? You know, we representing out here.
Well, thank you guys all for joining me. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.
All right.